Hello, everybody. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot this. One second here. Let me change this up. There we go. Okay. Okay. How's the sound, everyone? Sound all right? Video okay? Hey, Geezer and Bruce. How you guys doing? Hey, Stefan. Well, Sunison. I Oh, good. I'm glad you're here. Um, okay, you guys are having a lot of fun without me. You can just go on. Oh, wow, what a great discussion you guys had. Mazine 44, gotcha. John. John, I would just reading your email about the finding a better surface for that. I think you're right. So I'm going to use a real hard wood, and so I can get it either that or glue everything together with my popsicle sticks. I'm not sure. Oh boy. Hey Tom, how you doing, Thomas? Let's see who else here. Eddie, how you doing? NS something. Orange Hand, great, good to see you guys. Mark, how you doing? Okay. Today, what I wanted to talk about was sort of hey Mark, applied indices. I don't know. Mark, I don't know if they did or not. Hey GMT master, can I have a nice geophysics in your collection? Just watched it. Yeah, would like that. Um, hey David, how you doing? Um, you know, I was thinking about, hey Jersey, was the sort of saving watch companies. Now this may sound sort of weird that we can't, to some extent we can, and to some extent we can't. But I was thinking, if you get a watch, I've been looking at some different watches, and I was wondering, well, maybe they're on the edge, and if they go over the edge, where are you going to get parts for repair and so forth? And hey, Blake, and I was thinking about, well, is there anything we could do uh, to help them? Not, I suppose it's like to help them keep shooting themselves in the foot, because I think a lot of them do that. They go off and they go off and they do things that watch collectors just don't like too much, or they don't care about, or they look at it like, yeah, why bother? I say that, and I don't mean it in either a facetious sense or like we know better than them how to run a watch company. I would never want to do that. I would never want to have anything to do with the economics of a mechanical watch company. It just something about that doesn't seem to be. It's the old joke about how to make a little money starting your own watch company, and that's to start with a lot. But that to me would be a something that is, I wish it would go back to somebody who has lots and lots of money, who wants to have, I want to have watches like Breguet used to have, and so I'm going to make all of these cool watches and sell them at a price where I'm not going to be making a lot of money, but enough to sort of self-sustain it. Sort of like the old patronage model, where you have a patron, somebody, who's has more money than they know what to do with. Somebody like Geezer, something like that. Just, I'm going to start my own watch company. I don't care what happens. I got to make great watches with my Jillians. It's sort of the ideal behind it is to really make a great watch and try to do it that way. Right now, if you're going to have a successful watch company, you got to have a lot of sports watches. You've got to have certain kinds of watches that are popular, and I think this is one of the reasons that Rolex is so successful. Well, among other things, but that's so Patek Philippe, and it's not exactly known as a sports watch company, even though they're Nautilus and Aquanaut and anything that looks sporty, that they'll stick a lot of chronograph stuffs on and call it complexity. I don't know. For somebody like us, for somebody, who just doesn't have anything better to do than collect watches. I don't know. Tom Burnett, what do you have? Okay. All right. Huh. This is sort of interesting. Okay. All right. So the Austrian gunsmith have a co-op which works very well. This should be an example for watchmakers. A co-op. That. Well, there is in a way something like a co-op in this respect. I always forget the name, that the independent watch organization that has all of the really great watchmakers in it, like Kerry Vutenlaner and F.P. Journe, the Groeneveld brothers, on and on and on. And they're about 30, 40. I don't know how many exactly, but they serve that. Like if you go to the Baselworld, there'll be an AHCI booth where they've all chipped in, and they have a booth, and they can all have their watches there. Hi, Dr. A and B. So it's like something that it seems like, well, one way to make money is that you put in a cheap movement and market the daylights out of it. And it may work, unfortunately. But if there's a way that they could have something that, the guys, the watchmakers, the actual watchmakers could really be proud of it in their company, then that would be great. There were three guys a couple of years ago. I think it came out in 2013, but I'm not positive. Maybe it was 2016, one of those years. Vacheron Constantin surpassed the most complicated watch. The thing looks this huge thing that they made, just to have the most complicated watch. From 1900 until 1989, the L'Oreal was the one that had the most complicated watch. Then Patek Philippe had it from 1989 until about 2015, 16, 17, right in there. I think it was more like 2016 maybe. So they came out with this really complicated watch. And three guys who worked on the watch at Vacheron Constantin, that was their job for a number of years. They did nothing but work on that. And the three of them won a Grand Prix prize, which I thought was really, that is the kind of thing that I think is a great thing for a watch company to do. And now you say, well, that's really expensive to do that. And I couldn't agree more. But maybe some way that we could have support watchmakers. There was this one thing I was reading about, and I got a little vest pocket video I'm going to do on it. This company that is in terrible shape, watch company, made this fabulous movement, just fantastic movement. And I thought, oh boy, I'm going to see if I can find that watch. Well, they made one watch, you know, and the reason it didn't go into multiple production was just it was too expensive. And the kind of watch they made is exactly the kind I like. Geezer AHCI. That's the one I was trying to think of. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Geezer. Academy Horloger de Creators Independence. That's the one. Anyway, so I don't know. I suppose it's that kind of thing I'm thinking about. Hi, Dean. How you doing? Um, the Australian, is that Austrians? Austrians make rough actions, which are finished by Smith. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, isn't that kind of what JLC does, though? Offer many of their watches in steel. Their higher end series watches are priced much lower than the equivalent Patek would be. Yeah, yeah, and that's something. It's I think a lot of companies do that. One thing. What is it? The price of gold is now up to about $1,500 an ounce, but you get charged a lot more than that for a gold watch. And I mean, in terms relative price of what they put into that, the unit price on a steel case, I can't imagine. I mean, if you produce enough of them, but let's say that your company produces 20 steel cases, and then you have another company that produces 1,000 steel cases. The unit price on 1,000 is going to be a lot less than the one on 20. And so it's these kinds of things that are in there is that maybe what a co-op could do is get together with a company like Wooten Lonnen and Caton and say, look, we're going to make X case, and we all agreed on that's the way the case is going to look. And so we can all get together, and then we'll buy 1,000 of these, and then we can individually do the dials and the other things ourselves to make it look really nice. So just, I don't know how this could be done. There's another way too. Let's see. Hi, Paul. How you doing? Crappy Luxury. Glad you made it. Um, okay, so let's see what you guys have got to say. Uh, what's your favorite Breguet model? I like the tradition because it looks like something Abraham Breguet made. Okay, the harboring feedback. You know, ever since I bought my harboring, and I've had it for a number of years now, and it keeps perfect time, better than any other watch I have. I quit asking questions about it, and I guess it's really funny, Mark. You save for a watch, and then you find the one you want, and then you get it, and then you're looking for information on other watches. But that one is that's a tough question. I mean, in that respect, I wish I could give you a better answer than that. But if you talk to Richard or Marie Harboring, they'll do just about anything you want. If you want some kind of bespoke kinds of features to it. Let's see. Watch companies charge huge premiums for PM watches. Yeah. Any X1 costs lots and lots, but all economy of money has to have volume. Yeah, see, this is the other part of it that I suppose when I was up at Rolf Lang's place, God, it's almost been a year, uh, last year, the going through and looking at the watches he had, all of them were handmade, plus these other things that were like just going through like Alice in Wonderland, and he made them himself. He just makes them. Now, he's got lots of experience with companies that make lots of watches. He worked for a number of years with H. Moser, A. Longa, Tumida. Is that it? And some of the other ones so he knows about mass production, and but the ones that he does are, I don't know, maybe probably I would imagine you make a mold or something for a case, and then you have that case, and you can use that with a lot of different watches and stuff. I don't know. There's, there's the more skill that a watchmaker has, the more flexibility that he has, I would think. What do you guys think? Okay. Premium precious metal is less about commodity prices and more about exclusivity. Orange Hand, that's a good point, and you're probably right. The thing of it is, yeah, it is. It has something that has a good idea. We'll find a billionaire who's going to buy us all Chronomet Optimum watches. uh, but I don't know. I mean, to me, Beauvais is in a sense a very rich man's hobby, but there's a guy. I mean, Pascal Raffi is like super smart about business. He's not like, some retired college professor out there wandering around trying to figure out how to do business. But rather, he knows he's really good at this stuff, but he wanted to make something that was so good that it sort of was left a mark, I guess, in the history of watchmaking. I'm not sure. Okay, what are you guys talking about? Yeah. Let's see what's going on. Okay. Can't justify the markup for PM. Okay, Orange Hand. Yes. Yeah. The finishing cost. This is another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. By the way, too, you guys, Mark, I don't shun precious metal on watches at all. I like it. And I got a lot of watches with precious metal, to wit. But sometimes if it comes down to a watch I really like, such as my Lange & Heim, the gold one was like $10,000 more than the stainless steel one. I'll go with the stainless steel one. So but boy, shun it, no. In fact, I had one of the first watches I had that was really a good watch was this El Ra Osmiar, I think that's what it was called. What a beautiful watch, just a big hunk of gold. But what they did to it, to me, was like stabbing it in the heart, was that they put in all of this, and this fabulous Gilles Lochet, the blued hands, everything was just beautifully done. Go inside the thing, and there's this little bitty ETA 7001. Jeez, that sort of takes something away from it. And to me, it does anyway. Now, I know a lot of people care less. Here you got this gorgeous looking watch. You're out and about, and it's, ETA 7001 is not a bad movement, really. Hand wound, and you wind it up, and it'll last about a day and a half, probably. But the thing that got me, here you had a 40 millimeter case, and it's like little bitty movement on the inside. That's why they need those long stems on the winders. Is that, well, you can have what you can have, I guess. Okay, any recommendations where to look for a Moser beside the place in Princeton? Yeah, I do, Eddie. But I've got to wait for some things on it. I'm getting some more information, so I've got I think a really good one. I put one up, as a matter of fact. I think on High Horology Lounge, I listed a really nice watch. Unfortunately, it was brand new and it still had that plastic crud on it. They put on. So I asked the guy. I said, "Look, if you want to sell some watches, take that junk off, shine them up, make really nice pictures, because we have a, a very particular clientele." Let's see, what are you guys doing? Has several Mosers. Yeah, they do. Which one of them do you have under your radar? Okie doke. Logic. Chrono 24 watch box, yeah. Uh, had the literal address of material does not always translate to harder to work with. Oh yeah, that reminded me, by the way, Geezer. Here with, oh God, I can never remember the name, and the MJHV. This is that it's a manufacturing company that does the work for Soprod, that's owned by that Spanish company. I can't think of the name of it. Anyway, Festina. Festina is the one. Now here they have this manufacturing company that can manufacture anything. I mean, and they basically put the info in a computer, and then they have the tools of robotics, micro robotics and stuff, and they'll just do everything to do it. It's sort of like the 3D printers, except these things are like super 3D printers, and they make the gears and all of the everything for the watch. Now, let's say that they made a watch that had all of the same characteristics as like one of the early brigades. That I sort of got a kick on early brigade, and they're just really well done. And they're starting with a simple time only watch that looks like Abraham Brigade did it himself, and also did the finishing, or Philippe Dufour did it and did the finishing on it, except this little smart robot was doing it. His name is Bender. Anyway, well, so you'll say, well, it's not hand done. Man, you can, those things, I know enough about programming to know you can make it look like it was hand done by somebody skilled, somebody learning, somebody left-handed or right-handed if you wanted to. So I don't know, that seems to be sort of a worthwhile area. Now, the truth of the matter may be that may have been what we're paying a lot of money for anyway. We just don't know it because it's been done so well. Hey, Watch Habit, Tim, how you doing? Okie doke. What do you think of that? Thoughts on Rex Heppy? Like his stuff. Geezer, he was one of the guys I interviewed when I was asking all of the people about why they all use 2.5 hertz, why they used 18,000 VPH instead of that mule beating, the rented mule beating 4 hertz and above. Hi, Javier, how you doing? Any steel or white gold? I like the ones with the 343 movement. Okay. Orange, I think the regular 750 AU is the most exclusively premium. Okay, let's see what you guys are thinking about. Okay, what do you think about that whole idea? Okay, so we'll get some really classic kind of stuff, feed it into that computer that Festina, the company they own. I gotta write that down. It's a real cool French name that I'd be happy to mispronounce for you. It's M something something. And hang on, let me get it up. I've got it. Hang on a second. Open recent. Okay. This is the one. Everybody write this down. In fact, I'm going to do it for you right here because it's to me, it's sort of serves MF copy. Okay. Here it is right here. Boom. Okay, it's manufacturer horloger Valley du Jour. Sounds like I probably murdered that. Sorry, NS something. I try. Um, hey, Watch Abbott, you finally sat down. The kids are driving you nuts. Invite them over. Hey, kids, how you doing? Let's see. Okay, MHVJ. Okay, MHVJ. So I can say MHVJ and refer to this manufacturing company that's using all of these robots to make watch parts and everything else they need. And so maybe, the extent of which they can, really work something out. So, you got a finishing that looks like Philippe Dufour did the enloge on it, and set up your manufacturing thing so that, when the first plate comes down down the assembly line, the old robot grabs it and fixes it up for you, puts it back down, and then it goes and does that to the next one. Vacheron and Constantin said that it takes about 2 years to for somebody who's a watchmaker to become a good finisher. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but still, it's that if you can do it, if you can train somebody to do it, you can train a robot to do it. Not train, you can program them. Okay. Fahrenheit 451, is Moser the Frank Mueller of our time? Absolutely not. I don't see that at all. What I see is that you have the people who run H. Moser, I think, have done an incredible job. What got them into trouble is that they were wise guys. Which is the reason I liked them. And so but I don't. The difference between them and Frank Mueller is night and day, as far as I can see. Okay. All right. Let's see, Eddie. What's up? All right, you're doing. Let me see. Yes. NS something, that Eddie. Okay. The Pioneer steel models never had a 343. The Ventures have a 343. Those I really like. I have decided my dream watch is a Roger W. Smith. Yeah, Watch Abbott. I know a guy he's on a list, and he lives in England. He's got a lot of friends, and I don't know. He's somewhere on a waiting list, but I still think he's got like 8 or 9 years before they get to his. Yeah, Frank Mueller is the Frank Mueller of our time. I think you're right. Okay. Eddie, whatever happened to the Healer 74 photos? Oh, the ones I had, Eddie, I took down. This is just during the quarantine. Those are fantastic. Yeah, maybe I'll put some more up. I'll see if I can get in touch with Healer. Healer's been really busy on some other stuff, and so he hasn't been able to get to his workshop. What do you call it? I call it a workshop, but his studio. It's sort of like he does all of this really cool stuff. One of the things that I did, I took his. This is some of his artwork, and what he did, he used my Harry Winston, and then made this poster with it. And I took the poster, and I made a mouse pad out of it. I have a lot of different mouse pads, a number with his artwork on it. I just love it. So yeah, and when I get one of these things triggered up, I I have some more made. Is it possible to find a top-notch movement to fit in a 38 millimeter case, your own? Boy, Mark, I think it is possible with a Vaucher. The problem with Vaucher is getting a hold of one. It's easy to get a hold of 25, but getting one Vaucher, man, I tell you, that's a great question too, because that's exactly the kind of thing I've been trying to figure out. Uh, Mark, I think all of them. That's the thing I like about Moser. All of their stuff is what I'll call reliable beyond guarantee. Okay, so if you get something that's a 7 day charge, it'll give you 9 days. If it says 3 days, it'll give you 5 days. So I mean, you get what you pay for plus extra, just because of fabulous engineering and workmanship that goes into their watches. Now, the one that I don't know about is the 200, which is our automatic, but I have no reason to believe that it's anything but top drawer like everything else they do. The two that I have, one is the 343, and the other one is forgot which one. One of them has a 3 day charge. The other one has 7 days. One of my current favorites, I really like the 343 with a 7 day charge to it. So there you go. Series 2, the up-down indicator is delicious. I agree. Mueller was a failure in life, but he did create some exceptional horology in his time. Moser is the current hot item. Okay. Hey, Adrian, how you doing? Love the Moser's movements, but their designs are predominantly driven by gimmicks. I disagree with that. I don't agree with that at all, Adrian. I think that's totally wrong. They're one of the least gimmickry. I think the Icon watch that Moser made sort of, to me, showed that there's a difference between gimmickry, which I think a lot of watch companies other than Moser do. So I really can't agree with that at all. And I don't agree with that their designs are gimmickry. I mean, they get grief. They're really very very different, but there's a difference between being different. If you got to have a Pepsi bezel or something on every watch you have, like the Icon watch, to me that's a gimmick. On the other hand, if you have something original, that's not a gimmick. That's originality, and you can identify a Moser even without it doesn't have to say Moser on it. You can see this. Oh, that's a Moser, or that looks like that. The same way you can if you see a watch that looks like a Rolex, maybe it's a Rolex, or maybe it's one of the 50 million that that copies something that like they have. Okay, not picking on you, Adrian. Just a different opinion. Okay, Andres Felipe Gomez, how you doing? Perpetual calendar for 14K. What's it made of, Andres? Yeah, 343 is 7 days. Same happens with Grand Seiko. It delivers much better than advertised. Got my Geo perpetual calendar for less than that. Okay, that's helpful. I really didn't know, Andres, if that was a good deal or not, because I don't have something like it. Oh, okay. I see. I see what Adrian. I think what you may have been referring to is what NS something said, like their Swiss cheese watch and some of the other ones. Yeah, those are definite gimmicks. as was the Icon watch. But their general line of watches, I don't see that as gimmickry at all. Okay. I don't pick it up. Poor Adrian. I didn't mean to be like some dog, You better not say anything about my watches or watches that I like. Okay, Fernando, what's up? What's your opinion of the Vacheron Constantin first generation in a blue dial? How was the finishing on the bracelet? I'll tell you something, Fernando, about the first. And you just say Vacheron Constantin. I think you're referring to the Vacheron Constantin overseas, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? Anyway, the bracelet is great, except it keeps popping open every now and then. So I wore it for years when I was still at work. As I go around with my Generation One overseas, and pop open, just pop it back. It was fine. That's the only thing about the bracelet, but it's a really nice bracelet. The best bracelet that I've ever had is on my Parmigiani. Those bracelets are just extremely good. What are those books behind you? They're not my watch books. My watch books are right next to me. Those are old programming books and stuff that I had, or ones that I wrote. So that's the a lot of them were foreign translations. I put them all in another room, but then I had some extra ones here that I put there. Or they're just programming books, and that's just work. My watch books are right here, though. Mark Nagy, Andres Felipe, Mark Nagy, excellent watch. Which country? USA. Overseas. Yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about. I've got the first generation with a cream dial. Oh, I didn't know that, Clyde. Oh, that's cool. On a VC 1942, Andres. The 1942 is, if you're referring to the Vacheron Constantin triple calendar 1942, I love it. Really love that watch. In fact, that would be my favorite Vacheron Constantin to have. But the thing is that I don't like calendars on my watches because I got to reset them. You should do a story time stream and just read the book you wrote. Yeah, right. I tell you, if you guys want a cure for insomnia, read one of my books. The series one is sold out. Need to wait for the series 2. Wow, I didn't know that. Well, hey Andreas, how you doing? Mark. Black tag watches, okay. Hodinkey books. Yeah. I tell you a book that I would like to get, and every time I find one and then I hesitate on it, it's gone before I know it. And that's I think it's called The Art of Breguet by by George Daniels. But that would be a nice book to have. Found one here in Brazil, complete with boxes and papers, $4,000. Everyone's selling everything here in Brazil because of the corona. There's also a VC 47200 with Guy Locher dial, 5,000. Wow. Hey, Brendan, how you doing? Man, get a copy of Luxury to Last, okay? Watchmaking by Daniels is a book I need to get. Yeah, that, I tell you, watchmaking, you can find just about anything. It's one watchmaker. This is a guy who used to be a judge, a Grand Prix judge. And I asked him what he used the book for, and he said for everything. So I figure, well, it must be good. I've looked up stuff in there when I want to find out something. I was just, in fact, I was just looking at it, and I noticed that it didn't have anything about resonance in there, which I thought was sort of interesting. But he talks about the curb regulator and the free sprung regulator. So I have to find out something just about any topic. I can go there and look it up. Hi, Riza. Have a talk on the Blanc Pawn movement, 6950. Okay. C3 is leading the fight against literacy in Australia. That's okay. I really hear much about Laurent Ferrier. Wonder if it's because it's a fairly new brand. I don't think it's that. It's funny. I love the looks of Laurent Ferrier's, and I know his movements. He makes his own movements. There's no doubt about that. I would like to wear one, but I don't know if I'd want to. I don't know how much. It's a funny brand. His designs are excellent. He has a new, relatively new one that's rectangular shape, I think, or tonneau, one of the two. That's just a gorgeous watch. I like his square, and what does he call it? He has something square. Nice watches. I tried them on one day, and they didn't feel right. It's funny. Maybe it's just there's a certain heft that I always like. Even this one that's not, it's relatively thin. It's got that certain heft to it. All of the good watches, even my Maurice Lacroix has a nice heft to it. So I like that. Stick to authors who can spell. Listen, I don't care if Daniels can spell or not. His stuff is really good. Your thoughts on LUC Chopard line? Like those guys a lot. That's another, I think, line of watches that I think a lot of people overlook. See, one of the problems with Chopard, for a long time, they used cheap movements in their cheap movements. They were ETA movements and Sellita and so forth, and they may still use them. But all their LUC line of watches, if it has LUC, it's made by Chopard, so that's a good thing. Okay, what's going on? Let me see. Oh boy, Laurent Ferrier Tourbillon Grad Sport. Yeah, he's got some great watches. I just, any watch. There are a lot of watch companies. Even Frank Mueller. Frank Mueller's got some watches I really like, but there's always watches I like better. And I guess the same thing is true with Laurent Ferrier. He charges a lot for his watches. I'd rather have a Gronfeld watch, even though the design isn't maybe not as nice as the Laurent Ferrier. I like the movements better. Something about them. But that's, when you spend that much money that we don't have, you can. Okay, looking forward to his follow-up for personal reasons. The Paul Pluta story. Okay. I haven't tried one, so I'd like to see one in person one day. Yeah, watch habit, that's a good idea. Really is. This is about seeing one in person. This is what I like about going to these shows. At the last one, before the plague came, I was able to try on a Breguet tradition and what it was like and so forth. And I also tried on one in New York a few weeks ago when I was over there at the Breguet store. A lot of good stuff like that. Is there a Laurent Ferrier selling for 19,000? Wow, that sounds like a good price. Do you ever watch the David Waters HSNY? Haven't seen that, but I heard about it. Okay, guys, we're out of time. In fact, I went over some time, and I've got to get back to work on some other stuff. So thank you all for coming. Everybody stay safe, and I'll be back tomorrow. Take care.